Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Sally Blandón, who serves as early childhood and general music program director at the Merritt School of Music. Sally, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, so I'm so excited to have you on the show. Obviously, Merritt does this extraordinary work in the community and is one of our great creative partners. And so I thought I would just start off if you could share kind of what is the scope of the work that you do that falls under your purview at Merritt?
Sure. So I oversee the early childhood and general music department at Merritt. We have programming that serves essentially infants, so zero all the way through third grade. We have programming on site at our location in the West Loop and now at our near North location, which was a new thing that we acquired this fall, which was super excited.
Awesome. And
And
I should share for our entire audience, we are talking about Chicago. So
yes,
and
yes.
Merritt's home. So yes.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
And so yeah, no, of course we oversee. So I oversee that program at Merritt, and then also our near North location, and then we have our Merritt Music and Communities. So we've got under my purview, there's about 12 unique programs partnered with various schools throughout Chicagoland area, whether it's CPS or private schools or charter schools.
Wow. I mean, it's just, and obviously it's extraordinary work. And I think the scope and breadth of, especially just what you oversee, just kind of demonstrates, right, Merritt's just commitment, it seems, to being embedded in the community. Is that kind of part of
Yeah.
that ethos?
Yeah, absolutely. Our mission is to remove barriers to high quality music education, whether that's at our facility in the West Loop or whether that's bringing the music to the various communities throughout Chicagoland, which is pretty large. So, yeah, we serve all different types of communities, different socioeconomic backgrounds, and such. So,
Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. So within this work is Music for All. Could you tell us a little more about that and kind of the inspiration and the goals in terms of its impact?
sure. So, music for all means a lot. So, we want to remove barriers to, again, high quality music for all children, all students of various abilities. So, in early childhood general music, that could mean, bringing music to various communities, but also another piece of that work that I'm very proud of is the work that we do with FHSR, the Foundation of Hearing and Speech Resources, where we are curating programming for students and children who are deaf or who experience hearing loss. So bringing music to them in that way, that's another way that we serve. And again, living into our mission of removing barriers to high quality music education.
Right. And so, what does that actually look like? Because I'm sure there are those in our audience who are saying, oh, and they might want to, look, is there opportunities for them to do similar work in their communities? Could you kind of share how does that actually manifest for both the teachers and the students?
Sure. So for the students, what that looked like was 5 years ago when we started it, we had to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, how are we going to deliver this music? How are we going to remove this barrier such that we're able to deliver music instruction to children who experience hearing loss? And so that just looked like adapting the curricula and curriculum to meet the needs of the child and to meet them where they were at. So finding different modalities, tying music and movement together so that children could conceptualize musical concepts, not just for their age, but also for their abilities. And so that was one piece of it. And then as we've progressed and grown, we have also been doing a lot of professional development. My team, I'm so proud of them. They've been learning ASL, and then also just doing a lot of various workshops learning from music therapists, learning from various pediatricians, and going to other workshops to learn more about our students and how to meet their needs in and outside of the classroom.
Well, it's extraordinary work. And so kind of continuing that music for all, are there other kind of key segments of the community that you either focus on or have been able to provide this inclusive approach for?
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been able to serve basically students on site at Merit. It actually started at Merit with just a handful of students. FHSR launched a Music to My Ears program, and we were blessed enough to be thought of as a partner for this Music to My Ears scholarship. And so it started out there, and then it progressed to different schools outside. So we piloted our first school-based program with Child's Voice out in Wooddale. And then since then, we have actually partnered with the CPS cluster classrooms here in the city. And we do, music in the classroom, but then also we'll put on special events where we will engage with the community and do musical story times, and also taking a moment to not only, teach the children, but also empowering the adults and the parents or the caregivers on how they can use music to maximize the development of their child, regardless of their hearing abilities or not, because music is just such a beautiful tool.
And with that, and especially engaging, right, the whole family, are there times where it's been, several years later or and where you're talking either to family members or others and they reflect on this role that Merritt had for their child? Is that something that
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We've had students at Merit that started out in early childhood and then they graduated through the conservatory, our tuition-free conservatory. And that's another special thing about Merit is that we have a continuum. We really believe in providing music for all, not just our older students or adults, but also our babies, infants. So we always tell parents, you're welcome to come and take music programming whenever you're ready. And that could look like bringing in a 2-day old infant or a 3-month old or a 5-year old and so on and so forth. So we set it up, we prime the students and the children and the families to really understand the value of music such that they can see what that musical journey can look like ahead.
Wow, it really is just tremendous, amazing work. And the impact is so clear, and I've had the honor to be able to see it up front. And so, unfortunately, we're just about out of time, but I always like to ask this of all of my guests because in this work that is so rewarding, there can be days where it seems like there's obstacles you can't overcome, whether it's logistical or otherwise, so on and so forth. And just wondering, as an arts leader, administrator, yourself, are there approaches that you use or best practices, or do you have any mechanisms that you found to be helpful in the role that you have during those toughest of times?
Sure. I think there's three really important things that I try to think about just as a human and a teacher, educator, and administrator. And it's the importance of observing your community, observing your space, observing the community around you. And then also being present in the classroom, being present in life. I think that that's also really important. And leading with compassion and vulnerability. So being the change you want to see in the world in and outside of the classroom, I think is really important. And then in and outside of your work. I think those are three things that I always kind of keep in the back of my mind. That's where I seek my inspiration or my motivation, or if I'm having a bad day, I try to live by those values.
Sally Blandón, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing at Merit and for so many people in the Chicagoland area. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.